kinda crazy that some games from a decade ago still make a lot of today's games look weak. Today we're going to check out some old games that still embarrass modern games in 2025. From graphics to gameplay, these classics set the bar super high and they still hold up. Let's jump in. GTA 4. This game came out all the way back in 2008, but even today, it feels like a lot of newer games haven't caught up. And I'm not just saying that because of nostalgia, there's real stuff in this game that still holds up and, in some ways, is better than what we see now. First off, the story. This is where GTA 4 really shines. A lot of games in the series go for that wild, over-the-top style with big explosions, loud characters, and constant chaos, but GTA 4, it slowed things down. It told a more serious, personal story. You play as Nico Bellic, a guy from Eastern Europe who comes to Liberty City looking for a better life. He wants to leave his past behind, a past full of war, pain, and bad choices. But the American dream isn't what it seems. Nico slowly gets dragged into the same kind of violence he was trying to escape. It's heavy stuff, but it's told in a way that feels real. Now let's talk about realism, because this is where GTA 4 still blows people away. Liberty City isn't the biggest map in gaming, but it's packed with detail. Every street feels like it has a purpose. The way people act on the sidewalks, the way cars handle, the way the world responds to what you're doing, it all feels alive. You can walk down the street and hear two random NPCs having a conversation. You can get drunk with your cousin, go play pool, or just ride around listening to the radio, and it feels like you're actually living in the city. One of the coolest parts of GTA 4 is the physics. The way Nico moves, the way cars drive, the way people fall, it's all powered by something called the Euphoria engine. And no joke, that engine still looks better than what we get in a lot of games today. If you shoot someone in the leg, they actually react, they stumble, they try to balance, they grab at their wound. It's not a canned animation, it's dynamic. Same with car crashes, the way the car bends and shakes, how Nico gets tossed around inside. It feels so real. Even something simple like bumping into a person can lead to different reactions depending on the speed, the angle, or how they were standing. It's wild how advanced it still feels. And let's be honest, look at some modern games now. You get giant maps with 1,000 icons, copy-paste side quests, buggy launches, or half-baked physics. GTA 4 was made 17 years ago, and yet it still feels more solid, more immersive, and more thoughtful than a lot of AAA stuff today. Mafia II. Now this is one of those games that quietly aged like fine wine. It dropped back in 2010, but honestly, it still holds up better than a lot of modern story-driven games, especially when it comes to tone, storytelling, and atmosphere. Mafia II absolutely nails it. So the first thing that stands out is the story. It's not trying to give you a 100-hour open world with side quests every 10 feet. It's way more focused. You play as Vito Scaletta, an Italian-American who returns home from World War II and slowly gets pulled into the world of organized crime. The whole game plays like an old-school mafia movie, something between Goodfellas and The Godfather, and it's not just about action, it's about loyalty, betrayal, family, and chasing a better life in a broken system. Vito isn't a superhero, he's just a regular guy trying to climb the ladder and take care of his family. That grounded, personal approach makes the whole thing hit way harder emotionally. You actually care about Vito and his best friend Joe Barbaro, and the bond between them is one of the best parts of the game.
About time you showed up.
But where Mafia II really embarrasses modern games is the atmosphere and detail. The setting. Empire Bay feels like a living, breathing city from the 1940s and 50s. Snow on the ground, jazz music on the radio, old school cars, classic advertisements, people walking around in period clothing. It's all so perfectly done. You step outside and just feel the time period. And that's something you don't see much these days. A lot of modern games set in the past kind of fake it, but Mafia 2 goes all in. It's stylish, moody, and rich with little details that bring everything to life. Let's talk realism too. The game's not afraid to slow things down. You don't have superpowers, the gunfights are gritty and grounded, you can only carry a couple weapons at a time, you reload manually, take cover, and actually feel the danger. The cops in this game don't mess around either. Speeding, they'll pull you over, run a red light, they'll fine you. That stuff adds a layer of immersion you don't see often.
The working man's a sucker, that's for damn sure.
The Elder Scrolls Skyrim. Probably one of the most iconic games ever made, and yeah, it's been memed to death at this point with all the re-releases, but here's the truth, Skyrim came out in 2011, and it still embarrasses a ton of modern games in some pretty big ways. First off, that sense of freedom, you leave that opening scene in Helgen and boom, the whole world is yours. No long tutorial, no walls stopping you, no you must be level 30 to enter this zone stuff. You can just pick a direction and walk, climb a snowy mountain, find a hidden dungeon, get attacked by a dragon, or bump into a random NPC with a full side quest. That feeling of go anywhere, do anything is still unmatched. Now let's talk modding, because Skyrim basically became a platform for creativity. Bethesda made the base game, yeah, but the modding community kept it alive and took it to the next level. Better graphics, new quests, gameplay overhauls, completely new stories. Some of the best Skyrim experiences out there today are thanks to modders, and no modern game gives you that kind of open toolbox anymore. Most games are locked down and carefully controlled. Skyrim let the players go wild. Even without mods though, the quest variety and world depth are still solid. You've got the main Dragonborn storyline, but then you also had the Dark Brotherhood, Thieves Guild, College of Winterhold companions, Daedric quests, all with full voice acting, unique story arcs, and meaningful choices. And the cool thing, you can do them in any order or skip them entirely. Red Faction Guerrilla. Oh man, Red Faction Guerrilla. Now, this is one of those games where you go, wait, this came out in 2009? Because even today, over 15 years later, a lot of games still can't match what this game pulled off with its destruction system. Let's just start with the obvious. The physics-based destruction in this game is still unmatched. Not just blow up a wall destruction, we're talking full buildings, bridges, towers, and bases that collapse in real time, piece by piece, depending on where and how you hit them. You could take a sledgehammer to the bottom of a building and literally watch it crumble, or strap explosives to support beams and bring down a whole enemy outpost. And it's not just for looks, it changes how you play. You could create your own entrances, ambush routes, or escape paths by making holes in the world. Almost no games today give you that level of freedom and creativity in combat. But it's not just a tech demo, the actual gameplay was really fun too. You play as Alec Mason, a dude who joins the resistance on Mars to fight against a brutal military force called the EDF. It's a classic underdog story, and the game throws you into this wide open version of Mars where you complete missions, raid bases, and take down enemy strongholds however you want. The game gives you tools, rocket launchers, remote charges, giant mechs, and just lets you go nuts. And there's something really satisfying about that simple gameplay loop. Drive to an enemy base, cause chaos, bring down a giant tower with a few well-placed charges, get out before reinforcements arrive, repeat. It never gets old because the destruction is dynamic, not scripted. Every building collapse feels different. Every mission plays out a little differently depending on how you go about it. The tone is also kind of refreshing. It's not super dark or overly serious, but it's not a total joke either. It sits somewhere in the middle, kind of like those mid-2000s action movies that were just fun to watch. The game doesn't waste your time with deep political plots or long speeches. It just drops you into the fight and says, here's a hammer, go break stuff. It's kind of wild when you think about it. With all the power in modern consoles and PCs, we still haven't seen another game push destruction the way Red Faction Guerrilla did. Some games fake it with scripted collapses or only destroy a few objects, but nothing gives you that pure freedom to tear down the world like this game did. Fable: The Lost Chapters. Right off the bat, one of the coolest things Fable did was let you actually age and change over time. You start the game as a little kid, and as the story goes on, you grow into an adult. And it's not just story stuff. Your choices show up on your character's face and body. Be good and people admire you. Be evil and you start growing horns and getting red glowing eyes. That kind of visual transformation from your decisions was super unique back then, and even today, barely any games do it that well. The morality system was simple but effective. You could help people marry, set settle down, or you could rob, kill, and go full villain. And the world reacted to what you became. Villagers would cheer for you, or scream and run away. It felt like your actions really mattered. Some modern games still do this, sure, but Fable made it fun and kind of playful, instead of overly dramatic or serious.
Looks like he's done whatever he was doing.
The setting was also great. Albion felt like this cozy fairy tale land with a bit of British humor and charm. It wasn't huge like a Skyrim style map, but it had character. Towns felt alive, and there were a bunch of fun side things to do, like buying houses, getting married, playing pub games, even becoming famous. And the music, still so good. That soft, magical vibe is burned into your memory if you played it back in the day. And then there's the combat, which was super easy to get into. You had melee weapons, bows, and magic, and you could mix them however you liked. The game never made you pick one strict class. You just kind of learned and used what you wanted. You could throw fireballs 1 second, then pull out a sword the next. It felt really free for its time. Deus Ex 2000. The original one from 2000, not the newer ones. Now, this game right here, it's one of those rare titles that actually changed the way people looked at video games. Even today, 25 years later, there are things this game did that modern AAA games still can't get right. At first glance, yeah, it looks old, the graphics are clunky, the animations are stiff, and the character models all kind of look like they're made of Legos. But if you look past that, Deus Ex is a masterpiece of player freedom, choice, and consequence. And I'm not just throwing that word around. You play as JC Denton, a cybernetically enhanced agent in a world full of conspiracies, secret organizations, and shady governments. It's set in a gritty cyberpunk future where the world's falling apart, there's terrorism, plagues, corruption, and everyone seems to have their own agenda. But here's the magic part. The game doesn't hold your hand, and it never forces you into one path. You want to go in guns blazing and wipe out every enemy? You can. Prefer sneaking in through vents, disabling cameras, and knocking guards out quietly? That works too. Want to hack computers, read emails, open doors with keypads, and never fire a bullet? Totally valid. And the best part? The game reacts to how you play. Characters comment on your actions, some missions change based on what you did earlier, multiple endings, different choices, branching outcomes. It all flows together in this super smart way. Even modern games that promise choices usually just give you a good or bad option, but Deus Ex is way more subtle. It's about how you solve problems, not just which button you press. There's no big neon sign saying do this for good ending. It just lets you be smart and figure things out on your own. That level of trust in the player, that's rare. Sure, the shooting isn't great by today's standards. The skill system is kind of old school, and the game can be hard to get into if you're used to more modern, polished experiences, but the depth, freedom, and design still feel more advanced than a lot of games that came out in the last 5 years.
Estimating the problem. The others may not go as quietly as you think. Intelligence indicates they're behind the problems in Paris.
A bunch of pretentious old men playing at running the world.
Metal Gear Solid 2. The game starts off with Solid Snake, the hero from the first game, but pretty soon you're playing as a new character named Raiden. This surprised a lot of people back then. Some players were upset, but the game had a reason for doing that. It was trying to show how players often think they are in control when really they are being guided or even tricked. That idea is part of the story. You think you're the hero, but someone else is pulling the string. Even the gameplay was impressive back then. It had detailed stealth systems. You could knock on walls to distract guards, hide in lockers, sneak past cameras, or hold up enemies. You had a lot of freedom to move and plan your actions. The controls felt smooth and gave you more control than most games from that time. It's no surprise that a lot of future stealth games copied ideas from this one. The graphics were amazing for 2001. The game had things like real-time shadows, weather effects, and even little touches like slipping on bird poop. You could shoot a fire extinguisher and the smoke would spread across the room, break a glass window, and the pieces would fall in different directions. Most games in 2001 didn't even try to do that. Yes, the game had long cutscenes, and yes, the story got very heavy toward the end, but that's what made it special. It didn't play it safe, it had something to say, it gave players a lot to think about. Not many games do that even today. So even though it's over 20 years old, Metal Gear Solid 2 still stands tall. It gave players freedom, smart gameplay, and a deep story that feels even more real now than it did back then. It was bold, it was different, and it still deserves respect. Half-Life 2. First thing you notice is how real the world feels, the way NPCs talk, the way the world moves, the physics, the sounds, everything just pulls you in. There are no cutscenes, no big press X to continue screens. The story plays out while you're still in control. People talk to you, events happen around you, and you're always there, never taken out of the moment. Most games today still pause the action to deliver a story. Half-Life 2 didn't do that. It made the story part of the world. The main character, Gordon Freeman, never speaks, but somehow the game still tells a strong story through the people around him. Like Alex, who quickly became one of the most likable characters in any game. She felt real, not just a sidekick. She helped you, reacted to what was happening, and brought a lot of heart to a world that felt cold and broken. Speaking of the world, City 17 is still one of the best settings ever in a game. You really feel like you're in a place that's been taken over and crushed. The Combine are everywhere, the people are scared, and you're just one guy trying to break through it. The tone is serious, but the game still finds time for small, quiet moments that hit even harder.
We've got to stop Dr. Green.
Now the gameplay, this is where it still shines. The shooting feels clean, the weapons are fun, especially the gravity gun. That thing changed the way people thought about first-person shooters. You could pick up saw blades, crates, even dead bodies, and throw them at enemies. You could mess with the environment in ways that felt fresh and creative, and all of this was powered by real physics, not just scripted stuff. Even now, most games don't let you interact with the world like this. Half-Life 2 also kept things tight and focused. There's no open world, no bloat, no hundreds of side quests. Just strong level design, smart puzzles, and a good balance between action and quiet. The pacing is perfect. You get intense shootouts, then slower parts where you explore or solve a puzzle. The game never wastes your time. Every section has a purpose.
What is it exactly that you have created? Can you name even one thing? I thought...
Max Payne 2. Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne came out in 2003, and even now, it's still one of the smoothest, coolest, and most emotional action games ever made. Seriously, this thing was doing stuff that a lot of modern games are still struggling to get right. Well, let's start with the obvious, the gunplay. This game made shootouts feel like a ballet. You dive through the air in slow motion, spinning sideways, bullets flying around you, everything in that classic bullet time style. And it's not just for show, it actually helps you play smarter. You can dodge shots, line up headshots, and clear a whole room like you're in an action movie. It still feels amazing to play, even today. The controls are sharp, the pacing is tight, and there's no fluff. Every fight feels intense and cinematic. But what really makes Max Payne 2 special is the tone. The story is dark, tragic, and personal. Max is broken. He's lost everything. He's haunted by the past, and he's stuck in a world that just keeps getting worse. You feel that weight in every scene. It's not just another action story, it's more like a noir film, with rain, shadows, broken love, and a hero who knows he's past saving. The presentation was also way ahead of its time. The story isn't told through cutscenes, but through graphic novel panels with voiceover. It looks like a comic book, but sounds like a movie. The writing is poetic, raw, and full of that classic hard-boiled detective vibe. Max talks like he's living inside a broken dream, and it fits the game style perfect. Far Cry 3. Now this was one of those games where everything just clicked. It came out in 2012, and for a lot of people this was peak Ubisoft. Not just for the Far Cry series, but for open world games in general. It had a strong story, a wild setting, and gameplay that actually felt exciting, not bloated. You start off as Jason Brody, just a regular rich kid on vacation with his friends, and boom, everything goes to hell. You get captured, your friends are taken, and suddenly you're thrown into this crazy, lawless jungle where everything wants to kill you. That setup sounds sounds simple, but the game uses it really well. Jason's journey from spoiled tourist to full-blown warrior actually feels like a transformation. You're not a badass from the start, you become one. And along the way, the game constantly makes you feel like you're barely surviving. The story gets wild, and a big reason why is Vaas, the villain. This dude stole the show. He's intense, unpredictable, and actually scary without being over-the-top cartoon evil. Every scene with him feels dangerous, like you have no idea what he'll do next. A lot of modern villains try to copy that, but none of them really hit the same. Vaas felt real, like someone you could actually run into in some messed up part of the world. Now let's talk about the gameplay, which is still some of the best in the series. You've got stealth, you've got gunfights, you've got hunting, crafting, and outposts to take over. But it's all balanced just right. Nothing feels too much. You're always doing something fun, sneaking through tall grass with a bow, setting fire to a field, jumping off cliffs with a wingsuit. It's all just fun. And you can tackle stuff however you want. Go loud, go quiet, use a tiger to attack a camp, whatever works. Now here's where it gets real. After Far Cry 3, Ubisoft kept making more Far Cry games, but none of them hit the same. Far Cry 4 was solid, but felt like a copy-paste with mountains. Far Cry 5 had some cool ideas, but got dragged down by constant interruptions and weaker characters. Far Cry 6 looked nice, but felt soulless. It was more of a chore than an adventure. They made the worlds bigger, added more weapons, more upgrades, more systems, but they lost what made Far Cry 3 so good. The heart, the pacing, the feeling that you were actually surviving and changing in a real world, not just checking boxes on a map. The Bully from Rockstar Games. Rockstar really did something special with this one. It came out back in 2006, and even now, it feels totally unique. Like, yeah, everyone talks about GTA and Red Dead, but Bully? It's the one game Rockstar made that had soul, charm, and a weird kind of warmth, even though you're technically playing a kid who punches people in the face. You play as Jimmy Hopkins, this troublemaking teen who gets dumped at a private school called Bulworth Academy. And from the start, the vibe is different. It's not about gangsters or outlaws or saving the world. It's just about surviving high school, dealing with bullies, weird teachers, snobby rich kids, nerds, jocks, all of it. And the crazy thing is, it works. Like, really works. The whole game plays like a schoolyard version of GTA, but it's way more focused. The map's not huge, but it feels alive. You've got the school, dorms, classrooms, and eventually the nearby town. And each part of the game has its own schedule. You got classes to attend, curfews to follow, people to impress or mess with. There's a rhythm to the world that makes it feel like you're living in it, not just running around causing chaos. Let's talk gameplay too. The combat is solid, simple punches, grapples, dodge rolls, but it's fun. You get a bunch of silly weapons like stink bombs, marbles, and firecrackers. You can even skateboard around campus or hop on a bike. There's variety and it never overstays its welcome. The classes are also a highlight. They're actually mini games like tapping buttons in chemistry or spelling words in English class. It sounds boring, but they're fun little breaks between missions and they unlock cool stuff like better gear or new moves. To this day, no other game has captured that same feeling, not in the same way. Some tried school settings or teen stories, but nothing ever quite felt like Bully. It was just lightning in a bottle. A little bit of chaos, a little bit of heart, and a whole lot of charm. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. This one's a cult classic, released in 2004, and yeah, it was super buggy at launch, but underneath all that mess was something crazy special. Even today, there are still things this game does better than most modern RPGs. It had depth, freedom, mood, and a style that felt totally its own. And once you get into it, you realize why people still won't shut up about it. You play as a freshly turned vampire just thrown into the chaotic underworld of Los Angeles. And this ain't some cheesy vampire story with glitter and love triangles. It's dirty, weird, political, and full of backstabbing. Every faction wants something and you're stuck in the middle trying to survive. You get to pick your vampire clan in the beginning, and that one choice actually changes the whole game. Sure, dialogue options, how NPCs treat you, the way missions play out, all of it shifts depending on who you are. If you picked Malkavian, for example, your character is completely insane. You speak in riddles, hear voices, and even have conversations with stop signs. No other game has ever done something that weird and actually made it work. Or if you go with Nosferatu, you're so scary looking that you can't even walk around the streets during the day without causing a panic. So you gotta sneak through sewers and back alleys. It's not just a stat change, it's a full-on role change. The replay value is insane. Now, let's talk tone. This game has some of the best atmosphere ever. You'll walk through foggy alleys in downtown LA, neon-lit nightclubs, haunted hotels, shady warehouses, and it all feels gritty and real. There's a mission in a haunted house that still freaks people out even today. No jump scares, no monsters popping out, just pure mood and sound design that makes your skin crawl. It's legendary. S.T.A.L.K.E.R, Shadow of Chernobyl. So what is it exactly? It's a first-person shooter, but not just that. It's also a survival game, a bit of a horror game, and kinda an open-world RPG too. You play as this guy called the Marked One who wakes up with no memory in the middle of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, which is now full of mutants, radiation, weird anomalies, and a bunch of armed factions fighting over it all. The goal? Figure out who you are, why you were found near death, and what's really going on in the zone. The world is dangerous. You've got radiation zones, deadly anomalies, which are like invisible traps, wild mutants, and armed bandits. Ammo is limited, health packs are rare, guns jam if they're old, you have to manage your stuff smart, loot bodies, scavenge supplies, and make tough choices about what to carry. You're not a superhero here, you're just trying to survive. And the gunplay is also more realistic. It's not run and gun. Bullets don't always hit where you aim, especially early on when your gear is trash. You'll need to find better weapons, upgrade armor, and slowly improve. Fights feel tense and dangerous. A single mistake can kill you, especially when you're low on health or stuck in a bad spot. There's also a day-night cycle and dynamic weather. That adds even more tension. Traveling at night is risky. You might get ambushed or just get lost in the dark. The world feels alive, but not in a flashy way. It's quiet and real. NPCs go about their business, stalkers roam the world, and fights can happen without you even being involved. You're just one guy in a much bigger place. The missions are open-ended. You have a main quest, yeah, but there are side jobs too, helping other stalkers, finding lost gear, or clearing out mutant nests. Some missions can fail or change depending on what happens in the world. The choices aren't spelled out with fancy menus. You just do stuff and the game reacts. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Splinter Cell Chaos Theory came out in 2005, and for a lot of fans, it's still the best stealth game ever made, no joke. Even with all the fancy games we have now, Chaos Theory just does things better. It's smart, it's tense, and it gives you full control without making it feel overwhelming. You play as Sam Fisher, a top-level spy working for a secret US agency. Your job is to sneak into enemy bases, hack computers, steal data, and quietly take out targets, all without anyone even knowing you were there. And if they do find out, things can go bad real fast. This game doesn't treat you like an action hero, it treats you like a ghost. Someone who moves in the dark and leaves no trace. The gameplay is all about stealth. You stick to the shadows, move slow, and listen closely. Enemies can hear your footsteps, notice open doors, or spot you if you're not careful. Light and sound matter. You've got a meter that shows how visible you are and another that tells you how loud you're being. That means you're always thinking about where you walk, how fast you move, and what's around you. Sam's toolset is also sick. You get night vision, thermal vision, a sticky camera, you can shoot onto walls, a little hacking device, and more. You can open doors quietly, whistle to distract guards, grab people from behind and interrogate them. There's just so much stuff you can do, but the game teaches it in a clean, simple way. One of the best things is how the game gives you freedom. You can sneak past guards without touching them, or you can knock them out one by one. You can shoot out lights to create darkness, or climb up vents and find hidden paths. It's not about running and gunning, it's about thinking, planning, moving with purpose. Just Cause 2? You play as Rico Rodriguez, a secret agent with a grappling hook, a parachute, and a whole island to mess around in. The map is huge, like massive, filled with jungles, cities, deserts, snowy mountains, and military bases. There's over 400 square miles to explore, and the game gives you total freedom to go wherever you want, whenever you want. What makes Just Cause 2 special is the sandbox gameplay. You're not tied down by story missions or strict rules. You can skydive from a helicopter, hijack a jet mid-air, crash it into a fuel tank, and then grapple to safety right before it explodes. You can tether two enemies together and fling them off a cliff. You can attach a car to a helicopter and swing it around like a wrecking ball. The game is full of dumb, fun, chaos, and it wants you to go nuts with it. The grappling hook is the heart of the game. You can use it to climb buildings, pull enemies, stick things together, or launch yourself through the air. Combine that with the parachute, and you're basically flying all the time. You never have to walk or drive if you don't want to. Just zip around like a superhero. It feels so smooth and fun, even today. No other game has really captured this combo of tools the same way. And yeah, the explosions. They're everywhere. The whole game is built around causing chaos, which unlocks missions and weapons. You destroy fuel tanks, towers, vehicles, radar stations, and every explosion is loud, bright, and satisfying. You don't need a reason, just blow stuff up because it's awesome. The Warriors. Believe it not, but this is a Rockstar Games title. They dropped this one in 2005 and man, they nailed it. It's one of those rare licensed games that didn't just ride off the name, it actually improved the movie it's based on. They took that gritty 1979 cult film and turned it into a full-blown brawler masterpiece that still holds up today. The game is a prequel and retelling of the movie, so even if you've never seen the film, you're good. You play as the members of the Warriors gang, street kids from Coney Island, trying to survive in a violent New York City ruled by rival gangs. The setup is simple. The gang gets framed for murder and now they have to fight their way back home across the city while everyone is out to get them. But Rockstar added tons of backstory, new missions, and extra layers that make the story even better than the movie. What really makes the game shine is the combat. It's classic beat-em-up style but with Rockstar's polish. You can punch, kick, throw bottles, slam enemies into walls, do team takedowns, and even brawl in full-blown gang fights with like 10 guys at once. It's brutal, fast, and super satisfying. Every hit feels heavy. Enemies don't just go down in one punch. You gotta work for it. And that makes it feel gritty and real. And Rockstar, being Rockstar, they packed in tons of side stuff. Between missions, you hang around Coney Island, your home turf. You can train, spray graffiti, steal car radios, mug people, fight in bonus arenas, or do little jobs to earn money. It gives the game a lived-in feel. This isn't just about beating levels, it's about surviving in a world that feels harsh and dirty and alive. Scarface, the world is yours. Oh man, Scarface, the world is yours. Now this game right here, underrated as hell. It came out in 2006, and while people were busy talking about GTA, this game quietly dropped and ended up being one of the coolest open world crime games ever made. It took the world of the movie, flipped the ending, and asked a wild question. What if Tony Montana didn't die at the end? The game straight up rewrites the ending. Instead of going down in that bloody shootout, Tony survives, escapes, and now has to rebuild his empire from scratch. You lost everything, your mansion, your money, your friends. So you gotta start small again and work your way back up to the top. That whole idea, super smart. It makes the game feel like a true sequel, not just some quick movie tie-in. The story is surprisingly solid. It's still Tony being Tony, loud, angry, swearing every 5 seconds, but the writing actually does a good job showing him trying to change a bit. Like, he's still a violent maniac, but this time he's also trying to do things smarter. You're building businesses, cutting deals, and expanding your drug empire while keeping things under control. It's a mix of action and business, and it works way better than you'd expect.
Start making my own moves. Gotta get back in, you know?
Now let's talk gameplay. It's third person like GTA, but it has its own feel. Gunplay is smooth, and you've got this cool balls meter. Yeah, really. And when it fills up, you can go into this rage mode where time slows down and Tony yells while you mow everyone down. It's over the top, but in the best way. There's also a whole empire building system. You buy fronts like clubs, gas stations, or smuggling docks. Then you protect them, upgrade them, and use them to push your product. You also make deals with suppliers and choose how to move your drugs, land, sea, or air. There's some real depth here, more than you'd expect. You're not just causing chaos, you're running a business. The open world is set in a fictional Miami, and it looks damn good for a 2006 game. It's full of colorful streets, neon lights, palm trees, beaches, boats. You really feel that hot tropical crime vibe, and there's a ton to do. Side missions, car chases, boat racing, store upgrades, collecting money from dealers. It never feels empty. It's a world that lives, and it makes you want to own every corner of it. Also, Tony has a code. You can't kill civilians. If you do, he yells at you. The game keeps him true to his character. Brutal, but with a weird sense of honor. That little detail shows how much care went into this. And look, Scarface never tried to copy GTA completely. It took the same formula, sure, but added its own flavor. The attitude, the systems, the way you build an empire, it all gives the game its own identity. Honestly, some parts are even better than GTA at the time, especially the money system and how every dollar you earn actually matters. Fiverr, San Francisco. This one is a total hidden gem. Most folks either slept on it or skipped it thinking it was just another car game, but nah, this thing was different, way different. It took the open world driving formula and flipped it with one of the most creative ideas ever in a racing game. You play as John Tanner, a cop chasing down his old enemy, Jericho. Sounds like a regular crime story at first, right? But here's the twist. Tanner gets into a car crash early on, and the whole game basically takes place while he's in a coma. That means the world you're playing in isn't real. It's happening inside his head. And because of that, the game gives you this crazy superpower called Shift. Shift lets you instantly jump out of your body and take control of any car on the road. No loading screen, no cutscene, just zoom out and bam! Now you're driving a school bus, a muscle car, a cop cruiser, whatever. You're chasing someone? Boom, jump into a truck up ahead and block the road. Need backup in a race? Take over another car and slam the guy you're chasing from the side. It's insane how smooth it works. Still feels fresh today. The gameplay loop is all about using Shift in cool ways. You do races, police chases, takedowns, stunts, but now you're thinking way bigger. You're not just the driver, you're controlling the whole traffic system if you want to. It makes every mission feel like a puzzle. It's not just about skill, it's about creativity, and the driving itself is tight. Cars feel heavy, fast, and just arcadey enough to be fun without being floaty. The city of San Francisco looks great too. Big hills, tight corners, long straights, all perfect for wild chases. It's got that classic movie car chase vibe, like Bullet or The French Connection. You're drifting around corners, barely dodging traffic, pulling off insane moves at high speed, and it never gets old. Another thing that makes this game cool is how clean and focused it is. No getting out of the car, no clunky on-foot missions, just pure driving, and instead of forcing you to do a bunch of side stuff, the game rewards you for messing around. You can earn points by pulling off drifts, near misses, and stunts, then use those points to unlock upgrades, challenges, and new abilities.
I enjoy it now, Jericho, because in the real world, I'm gonna break you.